Cops of Reddit, what's the most bullshit sounding excuse you got that actually turned out to be true? One of the funnier ones that I remember. We got a call for a kid. He was 18 and a gang member, brandishing a firearm. He had pulled up his shirt pretending to brandish a firearm to intimidate somebody. The person calling only saw a holster. After we got there, he kept telling us it wasn't a gun but a dildo. We took him down at gunpoint, and he was right. He was walking around with a holstered black dildo. Why? Because he could. Haha. My dad was a cop and my favorite story of his goes like this. He's a young cop in a rough neighborhood. It's so late that the stoplights are flashing red, meaning treat it like a stop sign. Out of nowhere this pink caddy goes rolling through the intersection. My dad pulls him over. A big black dude was driving. The caddy had fur interior, dice in the mirror. A real pimp car, if you know what I mean. My dad goes, "Sir, do you know you ran that light back there?" And this guy says, "Officer, I do believe I got between the flashes." My dad was laughing so hard he had to let the guy go. Had a domestic in progress. I responded to during Christmas Day and the excuse for them fighting was we are not mad at each other, we are just upset because we wanted to surprise the kids for Christmas. We got some deer, dressed them up, now they are destroying our house. Turns out there was literally 3 fully grown white-tailed deer in the house somehow dressed with full bell harnesses like Santa's reindeer. I had to call the game wardens down who were then able to help me remove the deer from the property without injury to us or them. How they managed to get the deer and dress them up is still a mystery to this day. Not a cop. Family friend was. Pulled a guy over who was speeding profusely. Guy was obviously disheveled. He said he was headed to the hospital because he had a tick on his penis. Cop was confused, but he escorted him there, then waited in the lobby to check on him / see if he was blowing smoke. After a while, he asked the desk what was going on, why it took so long to take a tick off his penis. Her reply, "It wasn't on it. It was in it." Former cop here. I was behind a vehicle that couldn't stay in the lane, kept swerving, etc. It was 1 AM, and I think another drunk idiot on the road. Pull him over. Guy is a straight up asshole to me. Curse me out, yelling at me, and I notice his speech is slurred. I get him out to car, and I can smell a fruity smell on his breath, and he has to lean against the car for support. I ask him how much he had to drink, and he tells me to fuck off. By this point I'm ready to bring him in for a DUI, but I just had a feeling something wasn't right. I called EMS to come check him. Blood sugar was at 40. Not drunk, just a diabetic. If I would have arrested him, he probably would have died before I finished the paperwork. Go with your gut if something doesn't seem right. Not a cop, but I had a run-in with one that was really funny once. When I was 18, I was on a double date with a friend, and we stepped out of a restaurant to smoke. A cop came up and started harassing us, telling us there had been break-ins into cars in the area. Eventually, he said he needed to pat us down, and he pulled a brown paper bag out of my friend's pocket. He got a smug look on his face and asked, "So, what's in here, huh?" My friend said, "The Emancipation Proclamation," with a completely straight face. The cop opened the bag, pulled out a small booklet, got embarrassed, and let us go. My friend had been to the Lincoln Museum earlier that day, and did actually have a small copy of the Emancipation Proclamation in his pocket. I'm running booking one night. Guy gets brought in for possessing a truly stupendous amount of drugs. Him talking like 2 Rubbermaid totes full of shrooms, a huge bag of weed, and enough heroin to overdose half the county. Well, says he, I'm a DEA informant, and they told me to make the drop so they could be there and raid the crap out of everybody and let me go for helping. Right. Face left please. Guy is like, I'm telling you dude, they're gonna be super pissed that you country retards fucked up their bust. Whatever, get in the holding cell and shut up. About 3 hours later 3 guys show up, DEA agents. They're super pissed that our deputies fucked up their bust. I go back to the holding cell to let the guy out, and he's just like, they're super pissed huh? Yeah. Told you so. Young kid going 93 in a 55. I swing and he immediately pulls over. Approaching the car, his first words, before I can even start speaking, "My dog died, he hung himself. I gotta get back before my mom gets home." What? JPEG. Anyway, he calls other family members. His aunt, uncle and 2 cousins come out to the stop, and between all their sobbing, they verify that the dog had actually hopped over the fence on a leash/runner and couldn't get back over. Everyone's crying now. They showed me a photo on their phone. Apparently they found the dog and called the kid at work and he just left. I didn't even bother verifying further than that. Cousin drove the kid's car back so they could take care of the dog and prepare for mom. Some said that I should have wrote him, but losing an animal sucks enough. He knew he fucked up, and adding financial burden to him wasn't going to help him or me. Former Meriture, see here, look it up, it is a Dutch thing. Police but also military. We also had jurisdiction over the American soldiers stationed here. One day we got called over to a possible case of domestic violence. We arrive at the house and the guy opened wearing only underwear. He told us he and his wife were role playing. Of course we didn't trust this and asked to see his wife. After denying us entry we told we would come back with a warrant. He reluctantly agreed to let us enter. So we go in, and he opened the basement door and inside was the freakiest sex dungeon. I mean chains, whips, things I couldn't identify hanging on the wall. And in the middle hanging in chains was his butt naked, gagged wife. We asked her, but she told everything was okay. Turned out they were really into some kinky stuff. Asked them to keep the screaming part in the basement and to a minimal. We did the whole thing with a straight face, but as soon as we were in the car, cop here, got a call of a domestic dispute that sounded very heated and a lot of banging was heard. Get to scene and I can hear someone yelling and swearing and brawling. Doesn't sound good at all. Guy answers the door, shirt off and angry, but seems bewildered as to why police had been called. He told me he was building IKEA furniture. Sounds like the most bullshit thing. But, we enter, see the new IKEA furniture half set up and no one else is home. Color me surprised.